Good morning, everyone. Let me know if I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Last two lectures, we explored, understood how decision tree works. Today, we'll look at another technique, regression. Regression has been in existence, being used very much when using statistics. It's most mathematically oriented, driven through equations, and we look at how does we can use regression to classify or to predict values. When you look at classification and regression, what is the difference between the two? Anyone like to say? In both cases, we are trying to predict. But what is the difference between classification and regression? No one? Indrasena?
Sorry, sir, there was a network issue. Could you repeat again?
What is the difference between classification and regression? We use both for predicting values. So when do we call classification? When do we call it regression?
So in regression, what I've learned is like we plot a graph basically
True.
in draw and we draw a line such that all the common points
Mhm.
uh, we draw a line such that
There's a
all
technique.
the points.
So drawing a line,
Yeah.
finding the best curve is a technique.
Yes.
But when do you say that it is the classification or is it regression technique? When to use regression, when to use classification? When you
In
draw a line, draw a curve, can't you use classification there?
classification actually we it comes under unsupervised learning. So wherein we don't know the like
No,
uh,
no, no.
label.
Classifying, we know the labels, we're trying to classify. That's why the supervised learning is not an unsupervised learning. Unsupervised learning happens in clusters. Clustering is unsupervised learning. Deepika?
Sir, in classification, we predict the label. That is, if
Yes.
a given thing is.
Yeah. Okay, good.
In regression, we predict the value.
So can it be minor difference? Yeah, so you can it, but you're not able to specify the exact point. If you look at regression, when you predict a value, value can be a continuous value. When you put a label of discrete unique values. When I use your height to predict the weight, your weight could be a continuous number, it could be anything. When I'm predicting a gender or something with a child or adult or anything, or grades, these are fixed values labels. Because fixed values, you can call them labels, they're discrete values. There's regression, what you predict is a continuous variable, and that's where you need to look at. So regression, we end up when the predicting value can be contiguous, that is when regression occurs. So we like to study how regression works in our basic data mining. Now curve could be linear or a non-linear, could be polynomial curve, we call it curvilinear. Having a non-linear curve or curvilinear is different than linear regression and non-linear regression. I'm yet to fully understand that, so I'll not go into details. But even though if our equation happens to be polynomial quadratic, y is equal to a plus bx plus cx square, curve is quadratic, but it still is called linear regression. So what they say is a constant, the multipliers are still linear. So I need to find an example where multiplier constants are non-linear. So understand the difference. Just because a curve is a non-linear, it does not mean your regression is non-linear. So it's still a linear regression, even though curve could be curvilinear. Then we look at logistic regression, which basically, given the predicted continuous values, can you go into classification, discrete values? And that is where the logistic regression comes in. We use basically sigmoid function or something, and that is what you study gradient descent. You try to do logistic regression and get the values there. So primarily, the regression gives us a measure of fit. When you get a regression equation, it basically tells us how good our regression, I mean, the curve we have drawn, the line we have drawn, how good that line describes or fits our given data. What is the measure? How do we say it is a good fitting or is a bad fitting? And we'll come to that when we say the coefficient of correlation. We'll come to that. So fundamentally, if you look at regression or regression analysis, we are basically defining a curve via mathematical equation. If it's a line, it will be of the form y is equal to mx plus c, or y is equal to a plus bx, or whatever, one constant term and one single term in the single power of x. And we basically define that. So it's a mathematical way of identifying how does variable x affects y, or in general, how does one variable affects the other or the outcome. The variable which affects the other is called independent variable, and the other one called dependent. Sometimes we use the word predictor and the outcome. Now, when you do the regression analysis, there will be a number of variables, and if our equation happens to have multiple variables, then it becomes what is called a multilinear regression. There are multiple variables. That is multilinear. So if I were to like two variables, height and weight, and try to predict the gender or something else, or look at the amount of food somebody would eat, or amount of water somebody would drink based on height and weight, that would become a multilinear regression. Or I can have other parameters as well. So if we have more than one independent variable, so more than one variable that affect the outcome, that basically becomes multilinear regression. But in our discussion, we'll limit ourselves to linear regression. Now we need to, when you define when a given data, we have a data on different attributes. Does all attribute affect the outcome or some doesn't? For example, I'll give you a simple example. Let's look at, we are analyzing how does your marks in the exam get affected? What are the factors that contribute to your marks in the exam? Any thoughts? What could be parameters that could impact your marks in the exam? Akshata? Kishore?
Sir, the amount of preparation you have.
Amount of preparation, can you quantify it? Because we need to quantify. So maybe you're saying amount of hours of
Hours
study.
you study, yes, sir.
Hours of study, that is one. Could be other parameter.
And the correctness of the answer you are writing, sir. If it is like like
That's evaluation. So yeah, correctness of the answer. Are you writing stories or are you writing a proper answer? That does make a difference. Yes. Any other parameters?
and maybe your handwriting, sir. Like
Handwriting.
if it's not like
Yes.
readable, then
Yeah. If it is eligibility of handwriting, how easy it is for examiner to understand. If it takes too much time, it may not even give you marks. Sometimes some people feel studying in the morning gives you more marks. Some people say studying the late night gives you more marks. Again, there are different parameters. Sometimes you like to study alone. Sometimes like to study together because they say if you study together, you can discuss, understand, and then do things up. So that also does affect your marks. Are you studying? Are you coming to classroom or are you simply studying textbook or are you watching YouTube video or anything of that kind? And as you said, handwriting, correctness of the answer. Sometimes, what they say is length of the answer. Like I used to joke when in the school time, if I were to write exam the history, common subject, how many pages you fill, that determines how many marks you get. Again, the different parameters one can look at. So some may affect, some may not. That depends. Given the data, probably hours of study would be certainly important. Does other matters? You have to look at the data and then make a decision. So these all could be independent variable. Now, if I'm predicting the exam marks based on these variables together, will it be called multilinear regression or will it be called a simple linear regression? Kishore?
sir, if you are taking hours of study, then it will be a simple linear regression, sir.
Right. But if I'm taking all of them together, then it becomes multilinear regression. Fair enough. Good point. So a basic objective is to identify the independent variables, which are the factors, and dependent variable, which happens to be the outcome. We basically look at that. Now I'll give you some different scatter plots. And visually, sometimes you can make out, is there a relationship there or not? So if we look at, can we generally say, would a simple linear regression work in this scatter plot? Nidal? Abhishek? Given this scatter plot, would simple linear regression work reasonably well? Nikita? Nikita Katari? Looks like you guys signed in and just simply go away. Nikhil?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it might work well, sir, because the points are like very close. If we draw
So,
diagonals,
so is it a positive linear regression or is it a negative?
sir, I feel it's positive only, sir.
Yeah. So how do you define positive?
Like how close the points are if
No,
we.
that is not positive.
Okay.
Positive would
It's in the
mean,
first quadrant.
go ahead. Yeah.
I think because it is in the first quadrant.
Where is I have not even shown the 4 quadrants. So how do you say, let's say if I want quadrant to be like this, let's say this is my quadrant. Would you still call it? So I don't think it has to do with quadrant. Positive linear regression basically means when x increases, y also increases. And that's what is happening in this case. What about this? This also linear regression? Can we say something?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Is it a positive or negative?
Sir, it will be negative, sir.
It's negative because
Negative.
when x increases, y is decreasing. So it's negative. And so essentially you define the linear regression by the equation y is equal to mx plus c or beta 0 b1 plus b0 plus b1x. In positive linear regression, b1 or m would be positive. In negative linear, b1 or m would be negative. In multilinear case, there are multiple variables, b1, x1, b2, x2. So x1, x2, x3, xn, these are multiple variables. Now next would be will the linear regression fit there here, or what kind of regression you would see here? Bhavesh? Kishore?
Sir, it doesn't fit into like normal linear regression, sir.
Yeah, so what kind of curve would fit better here? So look at the curve, maybe something like this,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
So this is quadratic. You can probably see a circle, this is a quarter of a circle, or you might even say parabola depending on how you are drawing. If you are drawing like this, it becomes a parabola or a circle, we don't know, but it is certainly not linear and quadratic. So quadratic curve is defined by equation y is equal to b0 plus b1x plus b2x squared, basically quadratic. Or you can go in cubic or whatever for that matter. Now let us look at the next one. This is probably two curves, so maybe cubic would fit in. Quadratic certainly won't fit in because quadratic doesn't give you dip and go again high. It may be x cube, possibly yes, but not x square. What kind of relationship will define in this kind of scatter plot? Do you find a relationship in this?
No, sir.
No. So there is no relationship here basically. So, and similarly, again, because doesn't matter what x is, y could take independent values and so on and so forth. And so to graphically you can make out, but objective is can you do some mathematically and find out how well we are and how do we measure. Quite often there is a confusion and people mistakenly treats correlation as the causation. Causation is which caused something. Correlation indicates what is happening. So if you, in the exam marks, if you're writing an incorrect answer, that's the cause of getting a mark. Correctness of the answer will determine whether you're getting good marks or bad marks. Now, it may be related to how well you have prepared, when you have prepared, but causation factor would be correctness of the marks, correctness of the answer, not marks, sorry. Same way, so the correlation or regression shows only correlation. Regression does not show causation. Understand that. Sometimes they may be related, sometimes they may not be. As we said, yes, when you prepare more study, spend more time studying, you expect you to get more marks. So more hours study is correlated to more marks. Causation is basically you may study more, but if you're writing incorrect answer or you studied from a wrong book, then you lose marks. That happened to me in my BSc. My local exam was done. I got full marks. It went for a board. The evaluation, my marks were reduced by 20%. Why? They say answer is wrong. I talked to my teacher. He said, sorry, Ram, we taught you wrong way. You wrote what we taught you, but we taught you wrong way, and as a mark got cut. So just because I prepared well, spent enough hours, that is not the causation of marks. It's correlated, yes, understand the difference. Other example I'll give you is, often it says there's a correlation between eating ice creams and deaths. Has anyone heard about it? That basically the correlation is, if more ice creams are consumed, if people eat more ice creams, more people die. Any thoughts why that could be happening? Why the correlation is? So there's a correlation, but what could be the causation here? So if you look at, when do you eat ice cream? You typically eat ice cream only in the summer. In winter, consumption of ice cream simply becomes very less. Now, only in summer, you have a heat stroke, or called summer stroke, which can lead to death. So your deaths are occurring because of summer stroke or heat stroke, and not because of eating ice cream. But because it is hot, summer, it causes more people to eat ice cream, it causes more summer strokes. So yes, there is a correlation. From statistics, we can always say that correlation is the more ice creams might indicate more death occurring in the city, but causes it could be different. So regression will show you only correlation. Regression does not show you the causation. You should understand that part. So what is your objective in our regression analysis? Objective is, given the data points, like what is in 2 dimensions typically, or scatter plot, find the best fitting curve. And as you said, we are doing regression, variables are contiguous, the scatter plot values could take anything. Now question remains, how do you find the best fitting curve? Is the curve linear? Is the curve non-linear? How do you define which is the best fitting curve? For example, let's take the previous example here. Maybe let me go back to this example here. Let's say in this, I draw 2 curves. One is like this, and other curve is like this. Which curve fits better? Or I can draw third curve, assume the straight line. Which curve do you think fit better? I have a green linear curve, I have a blue linear line, I have a purple linear line. Or I can draw another better purple linear line. How do you define which curves fit better?
Sir,
Yeah.
the line to which maximum number of points are closest to.
How do you define the closure? So that's the point.
Sir, like the perpendicular distance between the line and the point should be minimum, sir.
Yeah, so you basically look at what we call is the method of least square error. Basically, from the curve, given the curve, like we had one curve, we had, let's say, another curve. For each point, find the distance. This distance between blue line, so distance of y coordinate. For each point, find the distance. Do we simply sum the distance, or do we square the distance? If we look at, if we sum the distance, some would be negative, some would be positive, it may cancel out. So simply don't take the sum of the differences, you take sum of the square of the distances. And the objective is to minimize that. So basically use least square method so that whichever curve gives the least error means, so given the x values, we know the actual y value, the observed value, and we know our value from the curve. So take the difference of the two, minimize that. So whichever curve gives you that minimum value, that would be the best fitting curve. Now we need to have some mathematical way. Graphically, we can say that, but through mathematical equation, we should be able to drive and say which is the best fitting curve. So fitness is measured by what is called coefficient of correlation. So coefficient of correlation determines, called R or R square, determines how effective or how best the curve fits. It basically indicates how tightly value of y is related to value of x. That is what it basically defines. So in our regression analysis, we basically need to find the strength, how good my dependent variable is related to independent variable, how much it depends. When you do a scatter plot, as you said, we have x variable, the y variable. If it is a simple linear regression we're trying to do, our equation would be defined as expected y is b0 plus b1x, where b0 is constant and b1 is a factor. b1 is called slope, and b0 or beta 0 is called intercept on the y-axis. So what is the value you expect? Beta 0 is the intercept. So if you look at our graph, when you look at the graph, and let's say this is my curve. So this portion, this gap is my beta 0. This is my beta 0, and the angle which we are basically doing, this theta, if this angle is theta, tan theta is the slope, and that is beta 1. So that's what basically you look at. Then coefficient, which is slope, and then independent variable, also called predictor variable. This is what we do. Now, if this is the curve, we can define simple linear relations. The predictor is the x, outcome is the y. We draw the curve. So this curve is called regression line, which is simple linear regression, and intercept is defined, the intercept on the y-axis, and slope, and here we say slope is positive. If it is a negative linear regression, again same thing, intercept will still be beta 0. Does intercept being negative means that it is a negative correlation? We know that our slope is negative. Should beta 0, the intercept, be positive or negative, or it can be anything? If beta 0 indicates height of the y-axis when x is equal to 0. Now my curve could be here, my curve could be here, curve could be here. So it doesn't really matter. So intercept does not determine your negative positive correlation. It is the factor beta 1, which is negative or positive, that decides whether it is a positive correlation or a negative correlation. This curve, as you can see very much, there is no correlation. Because for a given value of x, y is any number of possible values, so practically you can't define a correlation. But if curve is something like this, let's say if I were to have my curve like this, where the points are like this. Is there a correlation when points are like this? But I'm showing the blue curve. Indrasena?
Those are circular in nature. but
Circular or ellipse, so you can always define equation x square plus y square. So is it a linear relation or is it non-linear?
It is non-linear.
It is non-linear curvature. It's defining a curve. And that is what it basically is. Similarly, you look at what do you call about this? Is there a correlation between x and y or there is no correlation? Dikshita? Given this curve, given the regression line, is there a correlation between x and y or is there no correlation? Kishore?
Sir, as x is increasing, y will be a constant, sir.
Right. So question is, as x increases or decreases, y remains constant. So is there any correlation between x and y or no?
No, sir.
No. Because y is completely independent of x. Doesn't matter what x is, y remains fixed. Doesn't really matter. Hence, this is basically no relationship. So one has to understand that part. This is kind of, you can say, parabolic relationship. This is how my parabola is. And we may not be able to define what is called a linear correlation. It may have to be parabolic curve, which could be fine. Now, if I were to do my regression analysis, it's a simple linear regression. How do I proceed? So when I say I need to do regression analysis, what is it I need to find out? I need to define the equation y is equal to b0 plus b1x. So in the stepwise, first identify what is a dependent variable and what is your independent variable. Among which variable determines the other one, a predictor variable and the outcome. And we basically use, given a curve, we normally use the least minimum square method to find out. Now, given a scatter plot, given equations, we can use Excel to find the curve and to find the correlation coefficient. And I'll probably show you that by using the example there. Just to reiterate, what does the least square method mean? And then we go into the details of how to find or what is the formulas for finding correlation. So yi indicates my actual value from the data, that is observed value. So yi is my observed value, which is from the data for ith observation. Y hat I is the corresponding value from my curve or what I estimated. So yi is the observed value, yi hat is my estimated value or taken from the curve, derived from the curve. And when I take for all the observation differences, sum of the square of the differences, that I need to minimize that. When I minimize that, that basically would give me the best value. So what I need to do, you know the property of, if I were to define equation, so if we look at what does this equation would become. If we look at this equation, my equation is, let's say, y is equal to I don't think you can see that here. 1 minute. Let me see if I can. This is the equation, and I want to find out what is my M and what is my C. That's my objective. So I want to minimize this. So for I have observations x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y3. So if I can minimize, I'm basically saying minimize yi, and my estimate is given by mxi plus c. Minimize that. So I need to minimize this equation, and we know from our mathematics that any expression minima or maxima occurs when dy by dx is equal to 0. dy by dx is equal to 0, and second derivation dy by dx, for minimum it should be positive, for maximum it should be negative. Second derivation should be negative for minimum, for maximum, and for minimum it should be positive. So you do the first derivation, set it equal to 0. Use second derivation, look at minimum or maximum, positive or negative, and based on that you can compute the value of M or C. And that is what you can basically use that mathematics. So I will not drive the mathematics. It is not in the book, and so probably not in the scope, but there are enough material available. Those who want this to analyze, we can do separately, but I won't discuss in the class. Read it out. If you still can't understand, tell me, then I can do an extra class to explain you how do you drive that. So basically take a difference of the estimated value and the observed value, square it, and sum the square of all the differences. That's essentially what we are showing here. So this is my actual data point, what you see, and difference is what we are looking at, this difference or this difference. Or if my data point is somewhere here, then difference I'm looking at this. So I need to minimize this, and that is what the basically my least square criteria method is. So if you do looking at the mathematics, value of B1 can be given by the following equation. Basically take the average of x values. So xi is the observed value of x, xi minus x bar, which is an average of x, yi minus y bar, which is average of y, divided by xi minus x bar square. This basically gives you B1. And this you can derive from, as I said, by setting dy by dx is equal to 0 and setting d2y by dx is positive, and you'll basically get the value of B1. Doing mathematics, given that, so we got the value of B1. The value of B0 could be simply given by, I can put the value of B1. So if we look at this equation, let's say I'll write my equation, y is equal to, or let me put in, for a given value of I can say yi yi is equal to B0 plus B1 xi. If I do sum over all the values of I, sum, when you sum it over, this value basically becomes n y bar, because what is sum of all values? Average into n. What this will give you is n B0 plus this gives you B1 n x bar. So if you look at, you basically get n y bar, because sum of these values, all the yi's give you sum, that means average into n. We are summing B0 n times, we get n B0. Sum of B1 is constant, so it becomes B1 xi, x1, x2, x3. So basically it's B1 into n into x bar, where x bar is the average. So n get divided, and from there you can basically see your n gets cut. And what is my B0? So I can write B0 as y bar minus B1 x bar. So B0 as y bar minus B1 x bar. Doing these two, so you got the value of B0, we got the value of B1, and this is using the least square method. What's the least square method? You basically find the minimum error, yi minus y hat bar, differentiate it, set it to 0, take a second derivation, set it to negative, and that way you get a value of B1. Having done that, you got the equations, and now you can see what is the value of B1 and B0s are. So Excel does it for you automatically. You can use Excel analysis tools. So in this case, so in the equation we have xi is value of all independent variables, yi value of dependent variables. So these xi and yi are the given values. That's what our actual values are. X bar is the mean of x, all the values. Similarly, y bar is the mean of y. And then we basically continue. So, and we want to find our coefficient of correlation R square. This is given by another equation. Again, we're not going to drive it, but we can look at. So essentially, our coefficient of correlation determines how good our curve is, how best the curve fits in. So R square is given by sum total of all squares, basically SST is total sum of squares, which is this, divided by, so this divides my total sum of basically square due to regression. So I need to look at sum of square due to what is the value I'm getting because of regression. Look, y bar is my average. So I look at y bar is my average, and so I'm basically looking at my predicted values from the average, how much differ it does versus error. So it's the least square error, and this is the sum of square due to regression, and this is the total sum of squares. So when I divide this, that is what gives me the R square values, and that defines my correlation. So I'll take one simple example, then stop there, and then we'll use the formula, and we can even actually run and see things up using Excel. How do you do that? So this is the data taken from the book, which is called House Prices, which basically says, given the area in the square feet, with the area in the square feet, these are the house prices. Now, we can do with linear regression, or we can do even what is called quadratic curve. We can look at both, but let's look at from here. We would like to use Excel to compute our regression statistics. That means we like to compute our coefficient of correlation. We like to compute the value of y is equal to B0 plus B1x. How do we get the values? So given the equation, you basically select y range, define the x range, and then you basically say labels, and they get the answer. So let me open the Excel file and see if I can show you. So if you look at this is my, let me just probably hide it right now at the moment. So this is my house price data. Square feet, the area of the house in square feet. This is the house price in dollars. Now I need to draw. So you can select anything. In Windows, I believe go into data menu and you see under data analysis. And I'm using Mac, it says data analysis. So select data analysis. And to go to different choices, what kind of analysis tool you would like to, so we'll do regression. So I'd like to do regression analysis. Not give me choices, what is my Y range? So my Y range is this. I given my Y range. My X range is square feet, so this is my X variable. I got the X variable. I want labels of my X and Y axis. So I select labels so that X axis shows size in square feet, Y axis says house property. Now we're saying put in a new worksheet. We can probably do that. And we want to line fit plot, it'll show us the plot. And we like to say residual plot, we'll look at that, means how different the Y values are. And then let's try to, okay, and you see a curve that comes up. So you can see blue lines are actual. Are able to see the graph? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So if you look at the blue lines, blue plots are the actual data, which is the observed values. You can see from here house price, X and Y. And the orange is basically what is my predicted line. Given the values, what is my predicted? And you look from here, it indicates the R square value, which is 0.79. So any value greater than 0.7 or 0.75 considered good. That means it's a good correlation, good factor. Now you look at here, it basically gives you coefficient. So intercept is, maybe let me see if I can do a little larger. The intercept is minus 54191. That is beta 0. And basically the slope is 139.41. The coefficient of size square feet is 139. So I have coefficient as first factor beta 0 is 5419. This is 139. So if you look at the equations, my equation basically becomes, this is the curve as we've seen, and my equation basically becomes house price is equal to minus 54191, which is the constant, plus this. Using this, you can find the actual values. And that is what we've seen in this curve. You can see this is the curve, you can see the values. And if you want to see the measure, how are my estimated values differing from the observed values? And that is called residuals. And it basically gives you the actual prices predicted and the residuals. So this is the predicted value and this is the residuals. And you can see that in the graph as well. There is a second graph. Let me see if I remove this. So this is the residual graph. You can see that from here, that this is the actual size square feet and this is where my residual plots are. What are predicted differences? For each observation, how is my residual differences? And this is what the minimum is. And that way, so using Excel, I'd say both data is available. Run your Excel, play with it. You may have to install your analysis package, which is available. Search for it, data analysis package, extract the analysis package, run it as I shown, take the house data, take any other data, and then plot the values and see are you able to do that. Tomorrow we'll continue by doing from the basics. We'll actually take the values, so it can be our computations. Like we have defined the equations. If we look at, we have defined the equations as B1 is this and B0 is this. We'll take those values. So you can take the house data, run this and compute. So tomorrow I'll show that, and we'll also discuss tomorrow if you were to do the polynomial regression and the multilinear regression and logistic regression. That will come out tomorrow. Thank you. Any questions? Please let me know. Otherwise, we can drop.